Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Hope you all are in good health and your preparations are going well. So in this video we'll do the amendments in chapter 13, that is returns, and then we'll do the questionnaire of chapter 13, okay? And you'll get the PDF link of this chapter in the description box, and that you'll get the summary portion as well, okay? That is given in the institute's material, that summary, the chart you'll get in that PDF, okay? And this amendment PDF you'll get in my amendment class. I've uploaded one amendment video in which I've covered 6 chapters. This amendment PDF you'll get in that video, and I've uploaded questionnaire of many other chapters as well. So if you wish, you can see that those videos, and if you think that you can just study from the PDF, then you can download the respective chapter video, means respective chapter PDF from the respective videos. Okay. So let's start with the amendment in chapter 13, that is returns. First one is persons applying online information technology and database access retrieval, that is OADR services, not required to furnish annual return and reconciliation statement. So see the notification date, it is notification dated 20th June 2019. So it's not a new amendment. So in this notification, through this notification, government has notified that the OADR service supplier is not required to furnish annual return and reconciliation statement. Okay. So read it. Section 44 subsection 1, read with me. Section 44 subsection 1 of the CGST Act, please pay attention. Read with Rule 80 subsection 1 of CGST rules requires every registered person other than an who are excluded ISD, input service distributor, then a person paying tax under section 51, that is person deducting tax TDS, or section 52 TCS of the CGST Act, a casual taxable person CTP, and a non-resident taxable person NRTP. So these all are excluded except this registered persons. Except this person, every registered person is required to furnish an annual return. Okay. Now further sections 35 subsection 3 and 44 subsection 2 of the CGST Act, read with Rule 80 subsection 3 of the CGST rules, require every registered person whose aggregate turnover during a financial year exceeds rupees 2 crores to get his accounts audited and furnish the annual return along with the copy of audited annual accounts and reconciliation statement. We all know this thing. Okay, if the turnover exceeds 2 crores during the financial year, then that registered person is required to get his accounts audited, and he is required to furnish annual return along with the copy of audited annual accounts and reconciliation statement. Okay, clear till here? Now what is given, the government has notified the persons compulsorily registered under section 24 section 11 of the CGST Act, read with Rule 14 of CGST rules, supplying OADR services from a place outside India to a person in India other than a registered person as a class of registered persons who shall not be required to furnish: number 1, annual return under section 44 subsection 1 of CGST Act, read with Rule 80 subsection 1 of the CGST rules, and the reconciliation statement under section 44 subsection 2 of CGST Act, read with Rule 80 subsection 3 of the CGST rules. So the OADR service supplier who is supplying services from a place outside India to an unregistered person is not required to furnish annual return and the reconciliation statement. Okay. Now number 2, details of tax deducted and tax collected to be made available to the deductee and collectee respectively on the common portal after filing of GSTR 7 and GSTR 8 respectively. Rule 66 subsection 2 of CGST rules. There is a small change in this, that previously what used to happen, that it was made available, this TCS was made available to the supplier in part C of form GSTR 2A and 4A, 2A or 4A. But now what happens, this supplier can claim the amount of tax deducted or tax collected in his electronic cash ledger, okay, after validation. This is the only change. Now let's see that and he can claim this amount of tax deducted in his electronic cash ledger only after once GSTR 7 and 8 is filed. See, whenever taxable goods and or services are supplied to a department of central or state government or other specified persons, the recipient is required to deduct tax under section 51 of the CGST Act. If you have read this chapter before TDS, then You guys can sure relate to this provision if it is when this TDS is required to be deducted when goods when services supplied to Department of State, central or state government, and when payment is made by central or state government, then this TDS provision applies. Then earlier the details of tax deducted furnished by the deductor in GSTR 7 was made available to each supplier in Part C of Form GSTR 2A or Form GSTR 4A in case of registered person opting for composition levy. Okay, earlier this tax details was furnished by the deductor in GSTR 7 and it was made available to the supplier in Part C of the form on the common portal after the due date of Form GSTR 7. Okay. The deductee could include the details of TDS reflecting in Part C of GSTR 2A in Form GSTR 2 by accepting the same. However, since GSTR 2 has kept in abeyance, this provision has been amended. Now, what's the amended provision? For TDS, see the amended provision. It's given sub-rule 2 of Rule 66 has been amended to lay down that the details of TDS furnished by the deductor in GSTR 7 shall be made available electronically to each of the deductees on the common portal after filing of Form GSTR 7 for claiming the amount of tax deducted in his electronic cash ledger after validation. Okay, just one small change is there that supplier can claim this tax deducted in his electronic cash ledger after validation, and he can claim that only once deductor has filed GSTR 7. Okay, because it is made available to the electronically to deductee on the common portal after filing of GSTR 7. Similarly, now what was the earlier provision for TCS? See, similarly the details of TCS furnished by the operator in GSTR 8 were made available to each supplier in Part C of GSTR 2A on the common portal after due date of filing of GSTR 8 under Rule 67 subsection 2 of the CGST rules. Now see the amended provision. Amended provision is sub rule 2 of Rule 67 has been amended to provide that the details of TCS furnished by the deductor in GSTR 8 is made available electronically to each of the deductees on the common portal after filing of Form GSTR 8. Okay, for claiming the amount of tax collected in his electronic cash ledger after validation. Okay, so this was notification dated 28th June 19th. Again, it's not a new amendment. Now see the third one. Form GSTR 3B to be treated as return furnished under section 39 of CGST Act, Rule 61 subsection 5 of CGST rules. Its notification dated 9th October 2019. Again, it's not a new amendment. Read. Section 39 subsection 1 of CGST Act prescribes a monthly return in Form GSTR 3 for every registered person. We all know this. It's a monthly return GSTR 3, and it is furnished by every registered person other than ISD input service distributor, NRTP non-resident taxable person, composition taxpayer, person deducting tax at source, person collecting tax at source, that is an e-commerce operator, and supplier of OEDR services. These all are excluded. Okay, except these registered person, all registered persons is required to furnish monthly return in Form GSTR 3. Now what has happened now? However, filing of GSTR 3 has been deferred by the GST Council. So Rule 61 subsection 5 of CGST rules provides that where the time limit for furnishing the details in Form GSTR 1 under section 37 has been extended and the circumstances so warrant, the Commissioner may by notification specify the manner and conditions subject to which the return shall be furnished in Form GSTR 3B. The said rule has been amended retrospectively with effect from 1/7/2017 to specify that the return in Form GSTR 3B is the return under section 39 subsection 1, and that where a return in GSTR 3B is furnished by a person, then such person shall not be required to furnish the return in Form GSTR 3. Okay, once GSTR 3B has been furnished, then return is not required as GSTR 3 because GSTR 3B is also treated as a return furnished under section 39 of the CGST Act. Okay, so this completes our amendment in chapter 13. So let's start with the question of chapter 13. First question. Mr. X, a regular taxpayer, did not make any taxable supply during the month of July. Is he required to file any goods and service tax return? The provision says that even if the taxable person has not made any taxable supply during any month, then also he is required to file the GST return for that respective month. Means nil return is mandatory. See the answer. A regular taxpayer is required to furnish a return under section 39 for every month, even if no supplies have been effected during such period. In other words, filing of nil return is also mandatory. Therefore, Mr. X is required to file monthly return even if he did not make any taxable supply during the month of July. Okay. First you will discuss the provision and then you will relate with the question and answer. Now next question is, if a return has been filed, how can it be revised if some changes are required to be made? Means return has already been filed and you are required to make some changes in that return. So this in this, it's not like income tax return we can file a revised return. That concept is not in GST. We can't file a revised return if any changes are required, because in this case changes are required in the set of invoices or debit or credit notes. For that, revised return is not required to be filed. For that, necessary changes can be made in the amendment tables in future GSTR1. Okay. See the answer. In GST, since the returns are built from details of individual transactions, there is no requirement of having a revised return. Any need to revise a return may arise due to the need to change a set of invoices or debit or credit notes. Instead of revising the return already submitted, the system allows changing the details of those transactions, that is invoices or debit or credit notes, that are required to be amended. They can be amended in any of the future GSTR1 in the tables specifically provided for the purpose of amending previously declared details. Okay. As per section 39 subsection 9, omission or incorrect particulars discovered in the returns filed under section 39 can be rectified in the return to be filed for the month during which such omission or incorrect particulars are noticed. Any tax payable as a result of such error or omission will be required to be paid along with interest. The rectification of errors or omission is carried out by entering appropriate particulars in amendment tables contained in GSTR1. Don't forget to write amendment tables. So, by entering appropriate particulars in amendment tables contained in GSTR1. So, this completes our answer number 2. Now, see question number 3. Which type of taxpayers need to file annual return under section 44? Now, what is written in section 44? Who are supposed to file annual return? What is the time limit for furnishing annual return? Hope you guys have read this provision. Let's read this section. Section 44, what is written in that section? That annual return is to be furnished electronically up to 31st December of succeeding financial year. Okay, time limit for furnishing annual return is up to 31st December of the succeeding financial year, and this by registered supplier. For registered supplier, the form is GSTR 9, and for unregistered supplier, means for composition supplier, the form is GSTR 9A. Okay, and who are the persons not required to file this annual return? The person paying tax under section 51, then 52, person paying tax under section 52, then composition taxable person, NRTP, they all are excluded from this. Okay, they are not required to furnish annual return. Only the registered supplier are required to furnish annual return, except the ones which I have mentioned now. Except those suppliers, all registered supplier will furnish annual return in form GSTR 9, and composition supplier will furnish annual return in form GSTR 9A. And this annual return is to be accompanied with the copy of audited annual accounts and a reconciliation statement if accounts are required to be audited, like if turnover is greater than 2 crores during the financial year. Okay, so this was in section 44. Now let's see the answer. Question is, which type of taxpayers need to file annual return under section 44? See, I've already discussed this. See the answer. Every registered person other than ISDs, casual, non-resident taxable person, tax deducted at source, tax collected at source, are required to file an annual return in form GSTR 9. Taxpayer under composition scheme are required to file annual return in form GSTR 9A. Casual taxpayers, non-resident taxpayers, ISDs, and persons authorized to deduct or collect tax at source are not required to file annual return. Okay, simple. Now question number 4 is an annual return under section 44 and final return one and same? Annual and final return both are different. Annual return is defined in section 44 and final return in section 45. So annual return, just now I've discussed section 44. Now what is there in section 45? Section 45 says that the final return is to be furnished on cancellation of registration, and its time limit is within 3 months of the date of cancellation or date of order of cancellation, whichever is later. So annual return under section 44 and final return under section 45, both are different. See the answer. No, annual return has to be filed by every registered person paying tax as a normal taxpayer, with certain exceptions. Certain exceptions are that CTP, casual taxable person, NRTP, TDS, TCS, that all. Now final return has to be filed only by those registered persons who have applied for cancellation of registration. The final return has to be filed within 3 months of the date of cancellation or the date of cancellation order, whichever is later. Okay. Now question number 5. Do ISD, input service distributors, need to file separate statement of outward supplies with their return? No. They are just required to file GST or 6C. No, ISDs need to file only a return in form GST or 6, and the return has the details of credit received by them from the service provider and the credit distributed by them to the recipient units. Since the return itself covers these aspects, there is no requirement to file separate statement of outward supplies. Okay, simple. Now last question of this chapter. Question number 6. Is it compulsory for a taxpayer to file return by himself? No, it is not at all compulsory. It can file the return through GST practitioner as well. See the answer. No, a registered taxpayer can also get his return filed through a goods and service tax practitioner. So this completes our questionnaire of chapter 13. All questions were simple. Okay. So don't forget to like, share and subscribe my channel, and if anyone is willing to solve DD illustrations and exercises as well of ICS study mat, then do check out the link given in my description box, and I'll come up with next chapter also by this week only. So stay tuned to my channel, and till then, stay healthy, stay happy. Bye bye, take care.